You'd honestly be pretty impressed. Also, I lost my pen, which sucks. I'm so excited for today's lesson. I know it's like not that cool of a topic and my promo video flopped, but I think it's going to be really good and there's lots of good memes in it. I hate this first 20 seconds where no one's here yet and I'm just like waiting for the ads to finish. Also, I don't know if I can open my drink. We're drinking tonight because I had to sit in traffic for an hour and a half and then I had to wait 15 or 20 minutes for an elevator in my building where I pay $3,000 to live. So I would think $3,000 would buy you faster than a 15-minute elevator wait time. But I've been wrong many times, and I'm sure I will continue to be wrong in the future. Welcome to the Sarcast. OMG, TK Mickle, thanks, or Michael. First time making it live, welcome. Is this the YouTube to Twitch pipeline that I'm seeing? I legit binged everything on YouTube. I'm obsessed. Well, now you're here for the real deal. Can you believe that my whole Target did not have Dr. Pepper? They didn't have it in any format. Like, there was not a can, there was not a bottle, there was not even a 2-liter. 2-liter is definitely lowest tier of soda. Also, we can get full fucking distracted as much as we want tonight because this is a shorter deck because it's a very like shorter topic. So we're going to have lots of fun and there's lots of different memes and it's going to be great. I was taking a psych test today in the Vietnam War stream. Help me answer a question, right? Look at that. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Would you fucking look at that? Also, I'm so happy to be back in my space. There's been a couple times recently that I've streamed not in my little room and I just hate it. And I'm so happy to be back in my space with my desk, with my camera and my mic set up and I don't have to replug it in and this light and my blue light. I'm just thrilled to be back in my space. Quarter Life Crisis has been subscribed for 9 months. Quarter Life Crisis, we could have had a baby together. It's our anniversary. We could have had a literal baby together. But anyway, I'm just so happy to be back in my space because I love my parents, love my boyfriend, but I don't like streaming from their residences. I like streaming from here. And it just reminds me of like, do y'all remember when I had that crazy ass fucking roommate? Raise your hand if you were here for crazy roommate times. Raise your hand in the chat if you were here for insane roommate times. Raise your hand for that. And I would like sometimes be streaming out in the living room and then she would be like, rah! And then I was streaming in my room and I was literally sitting on like the bedroom floor. And like had my camera like sitting on the edge of my bed. It was very down bad. So I'm just very grateful to be in a good space right now. Hand shoots up very fast. I was on YouTube for that. All the hands. Yes, y'all remember. Finishing the pipeline tonight. I have no clue how Twitch works. I'm overwhelmed and excited. Well, you're here and that's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to click anything. You don't have to do anything. Twitch is only complicated for the person streaming because it's not like Instagram or Facebook where you can just log in and post. Like you have to have this separate streaming software. So I think that's why a lot of people are intimidated by it. But as a user, it's pretty easy and you don't have to do that much. So you're in, you did it, you're here. Welcome back to the room with the vibes. Yes, also I'm kind of cold. Are we going to talk about Operation Northwoods? I don't know. We might, not today, but at some point. I'm also stoked y'all got Miss R on the pod. So actually I had no idea who she was. I'm the worst podcast partner ever. And I told Fraz that. I was like, listen, I have to work full-time at more than full-time if you count up the hours. And I just really like can't handle this. So I'm on the recordings, but she does most of like the planning and the editing and that kind of stuff. So I just saw her like on the calendar for us and I was like, oh, okay. And then a couple days later her quitting video was on my For You page and I was like, oh, and I didn't realize like she has a huge following. I did not know that. This is so good. We're using the Chili's cup. Chili's Girl Summer. Chili's Girl Summer. Okay, let's fucking get into this. We're 4 minutes in and we're getting fucking started. I kind of want to get on content creating vibe because my job is making me hate life. I think any job makes us hate life. Every job is bad. All of them, I think, is the truth. You just have to find one that's the least bad for your personality type is the key. Cheers to Chili's. I had Chili's last night for dinner. Did not finish my food. Gonna reheat it immediately after this stream. Very much looking forward to it. So excited about Chili's. My boyfriend hates Chili's. He hates it so much. And I was like, this is weird. Oh my God, mini sheafs. TikTok to YouTube pipeline in action right here. We can get distracted today. We're 4 minutes in and we're fucking getting into it. That is funny. Oh, I fucking hate when I do this. I'm trying to screenshot your chat because it might be the chat of the night. Also, sorry if, oh my God, I did it again. And it's so hard to get these because they're moving. So you literally have to have like laser-like focus. I'm like target shooting right now. But anyway, I got it. Knew I could handle it. But anyway, I'll go to Chili's with you. Quarter Life Crisis, I have a gift card. We should actually go. What was I about to say? Fuck. This has been happening a lot lately. What a nerd. How can you hate their 2 for whatever deals? He's a healthy man. He's a healthy man. That's why he hates Chili's. Because he's like, I want to eat healthy. And I'm like, honey chipotle chicken tenders, though? Like, they're right here. The honey chipotle chicken tenders are literally right here. Chat of the night is so slay. Thank you. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Chat of the night. So I always take screenshots of my favorite. Did Chili's send you the gift card? Yes, they did, but I don't know how much is on it. So I always like screenshot my favorite chats of the night. And sometimes a chat makes it into the thumbnail. So if I have ever told you that your chat was going to make it into the thumbnail and then it didn't, I'm very, 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 very sorry. The only times I don't put them in there is if I cannot fit them on there. Because I need to put, like, my face and then what the stream is about. So, like, if, just depending on the length of the title, sometimes it doesn't fit with that many words. So if you got booted, it's not because of you. It's because the title was too long. So sometimes there's a chat of the night and sometimes there's not, just depending on what kind of graphic design mood I'm in when I make my thumbnail. I make my thumbnails on Canva and it only takes me about 5 minutes. If anyone on here is trying to get on like their content creation game, I really underestimated like how important thumbnails are. And I would just do like whatever the auto one was. And then my boyfriend was really like, no, you should put effort into thumbnails. Like I always pick videos by the thumbnails. Like I think it would be good if you did that. And so then I started trying and making them. And like actually doing it on Canva, like nothing crazy. It's pretty easy. It takes me, like I said, 5 or 10 minutes. And it actually has been working really well. And I think I like look at it and they make me happy. Like I look at my channel and I'm like, oh, it looks so nice. And like if I was to stumble upon this, I would be like, oh, looks interesting. Like this is history and looks interesting and funny. So if you are creating content and you want people to engage with it, thumbnails are a way to make it really like palpable, if that makes sense. Okay, but Natalie is one of the craziest people to ever be on 90 Day. I haven't seen it in a while. When you comment on something and then get an ad so you never see the reaction to your joke. Wait, what? Oh, what did you say? I'm sorry you got an ad. That's really lame. Why can't you, Quarter Life Crisis? Yeah, Quarter Life Crisis, do it. Okay, but let's get into it now. Now that we're on minute 8, now we're getting into it. So today we're going to talk about the Cuban Missile Crisis. So this is essentially what the Cuban Missile Crisis like news was at the time, as they were like, there's missiles in Cuba and they could be launched to anywhere in the United States. Look, I'm right here. That's me right there. So this is what people were seeing in the news. So naturally that's like pretty fucking jarring. Just see that. So children in the 1960s were literally just waking up every day to nuclear death threats. Let me give you kind of like a background on like what this is. Basically, I meant to do a slide on that. I don't know how that happened. Basically, the Cuban Missile Crisis is during the 1960s, the USSR placed missiles in Cuba. Cuba is really, really close to the United States. It's like 100 miles off the coast of Florida. So the USSR placed missiles there. The US freaked the fuck out because we thought that they were going to launch the missiles at us. They never did that. But the reason it would be so bad is because if the USSR launched nuclear missiles on the US, it would cause like mass destruction. And then the US would launch them on the USSR and it would cause mass destruction in Europe. And it would just become like a nuclear warfare that took down the whole planet. So that's kind of why it was so bad. Very valid. I just take a ton of Adderall and smoke weed. Oh my God. Good for you. So basically in the near future, most likely because the Cold War is still happening. Yes, technically the Cold War is over, but in my mind, it never ended. And in the minds of most of the government, it did not end. So I low-key like start to feel empathy for boomers, because think about growing up and being constantly told that you could die from a bomb at any time. Of course they feel no remorse for their actions. Why would they? You could die from a bomb at any time. Oh, also, daughter of Athens, subscribed with Prime. You mean Athens, Greece, or Athens, Georgia? I've been to both. Don't have a favorite. Chin strap on. That's funny. Followed. Thank you. Mini Chiefs followed. Grocery Store Pete resubscribed. Thank you for being subscribed for 3 months. Looking for a specific Barbie doll for my bestie. Tell me why they're like $100+. Jesus fucking Christ. The U.S. fear of communism is so insane. How is Athens, Greece not your fave? Athens, Georgia is an amazing place. It's near where I grew up. It's nostalgic for me. My mom talks about having to do civil defense drills so casually, but we are from California, so I guess not that different from an earthquake drill. A little different, because an earthquake drill, it's like, nature is crazy. And then like a civil defense drill, it's like, people want to kill us. And we want to kill them. And like, that has to do something to your psyche. Does it not? Bro, this is like too much on me. There we go. That's better. I worked out so intensely this morning, and my face has not turned back to its normal color. I've been red all day. Because I did Peloton lane break this morning. That shit rocked me. How many active minutes did I get? I never even looked. Holy shit, I have 41 active minutes today. That's crazy. Oh, I also took a walk at work today. I love taking a walk at work. I love my midday walks because it's like a nice area. But anyway, I digress. Both involve ineffectual hiding under a desk. Oh my god. Bro, my mom is still on that shit. She called me last week to warn me, like, babe, if we get bombed, we're getting bombed. I don't know what you want me to say. That's like literally true, because if we're getting bombed, like, you think this fucking like sawdust-ass desk is going to protect us? I couldn't remember the word sawdust. Speaking of drills, if there's a hurricane, I have to stay at work until cleared by the company. So my work was being on that when there was a hurricane, and then they were like, my boyfriend was like, I'm going to come to your work and come get you. This is not safe. Like, if you are not home, I am coming to get you. Like, he was like on it. And then my work was like, okay, we actually decided you can go. Go ahead and go. And I was like already packing my thing. I was like, oh, I was already leaving. So I'm glad that you also decided that. Thank you. And they were like, yeah, sorry that we had you come in at all today. That was weird. And then we just never talked about it again. Being the constant threat of nuclear war with lead poisoning, the boomers never stood a chance. They really didn't. That is another top contender for chat of the night. Screenshotted. No, because if I had been in Hawaii during that scare, I would have drawn a bath and opened my one expensive bottle of wine. Good on Mr. Redacted. Nah, he was not going to let me drive in a hurricane. He was like, yeah, immediately no. Any Barbie movie doll is going to cost $100 minimum. Those things are hard to come by. That has the same energy as that audio where it's like, I think I know more than you do. I think I know more about American Girl dolls than you do, genius. That, to me, is one of the most slept on audios. It's so fucking funny. It's so fucking funny. Oh my god, people are canceling me on the internet. God damn it, not again. I hate that. Hate that for me. Please don't air out my doll collection. I have an American Girl doll in my closet. I never had one as a child, and then my ex-boyfriend's mom gave one to me because she collects them, and she felt really bad that I never had one. And I probably could have given it to somebody, but it's still sitting in my closet. Ooh! I know who I'm going to give it to. My friend had a baby girl recently. I'm going to give it to her. That's good. Because I hadn't had anyone that I felt like would want it. You know, and I don't want to give it to Goodwill or something. Give it to, like, someone I don't know. It's sentimental. It's a nice doll. Loki did make the chat of the night screenshot. This is my 15-minute starting now. We'll see. We'll see. The official one gets decided when I make the thumbnail, and the way it fits is also part of the decision-making factor. I referenced that audio to my mentor teacher and she didn't get it. Tragic. I'm so blessed that my coworkers go on TikTok and we can like talk about this. I'm literally so blessed. I tweeted about taking an edible in prep for tonight, and I plugged the stream for my 4 followers. Thank you. I love that for us. My bestie got me an American Girl doll for my 16th birthday because I never had one growing up. The adult American Girl doll gift is so much more meaningful than the childhood American Girl doll gift, because it's like, you're seeing me, you know? Like, it's deeper. It's so much deeper than the childhood American Girl doll times. So I unfortunately have to explain the Cold War to you. So I have made this slide so many fucking times because I always talk about this time period in history, because it just they don't do it justice in school, and I never learned it, and it's so crazy to me that I never learned all of this crazy important stuff, and I just like feel the need to tell you about it. But anyway, you need to understand the Cold War. This is going to be a very quick overview of the Cold War, so if you've been here before for this, that's fine. Also, controversial opinion, Gordon Ramsay is an attractive man. I cannot believe that I'm saying that on a format on the internet that's recorded. When I made the slide, I was like, oh, I can say that, but now I'm kind of questioning that decision. But anyway, I'm actually, you know what? I deserve to be myself, and I can say that I think Gordon Ramsay is attractive, not in like a super visual way. It's like an energy way. You know what I mean? I'm a lesbian and I do see it. I 100% agree. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Also, I am fucking pissed because I made a version of this slide that was way better. I spent 20 minutes scouring the internet to get the best photos and GIFs of Gordon Ramsay fucking possible. Okay? I have seen, I think, every picture of Gordon Ramsay. I think I've seen more pictures of Gordon Ramsay than Gordon Ramsay has seen of himself. His energy is attractive. Yeah, it is his energy. Why you pronounce GIF that way? I'm sorry. It's not peanut butter. GIF. Also, I get why y'all think that. GAF. GAF. That's how you say it? Anyway, but I scoured the internet. I collected a beautiful collage of Gordon Ramsay, and then when I was looking over the slides yesterday to like make sure everything was perfect for my gorgeous little students right here, it was gone. Like, well, it wasn't gone. It actually was like glitching and you couldn't see it. And then when you hit preview, it just doesn't show up. It's just white. And then when you click to edit the slide, it's a time to climb game, but like with no questions. It was fucking weird. And then I tried to copy and paste it and it didn't work. And then I had to tell Nearpod support, and I was on a fucking chat with Nearpod support. And let me just tell you, this is so embarrassing. I meant to make a TikTok about this. But anyway, I could have plugged this stream way better. I'm trying to be more on my influencer game, marketing girly moment. But anyway, I was on chat with Nearpod support, and I was like, hey, this really weird thing is happening. This has never happened to me. And she was like, wow, that is really weird. And then she was like, let me look and see if it's happening to me, because maybe like your computer's glitching or something like that. So she was like, what's the name of the lesson? And I was like, oh, it's called Cuban Missile Crisis. And she was like, which slide is it? And then I was like, oh, it's slide 6 and 7, because I copied it to a second slide, which was doing the same thing. And then she was like, is it the slide titled Controversial Opinion, Gordon Ramsay is Very Fine? She had to type that out and hit send. I mean, she probably copy and pasted it. I would have. But I have like her job for a different company, obviously. And I literally just wanted to die. Like, I, in that moment, wanted to sink into the floor and die. She was nice. She was like, yeah, it's still going on my end, so I'm going to escalate it to product engineering. I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's literally fine. I was like, you tried your best, and I can just remake it on a different version, and it'll be great. Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope she joins the live. Also, someone said they just want to learn about the Cold War. I'm sorry that we're like this. But anyway, let's actually talk about the Cold War. There's a lot of memes in this one. Is it happening? Look! Here it is! You can see it a little bit. Here you go. There. That's as good as we're gonna get. Do you see it? She stayed professional, and I have a lot of respect. Like, I'm surprised she didn't report me to a district. If I was her, I'd been like, we need to report this woman. Why is she talking about this in the classroom? That's not okay. I see it. Okay, but back to normal. The James Corden picture, OMG. Okay, but To understand the Cuban Missile Crisis, you need to understand the Cold War. This is one of my favorite political cartoons, and it represents the Cold War. And basically what it is the U.S. trying to grab all these countries of the world and get them under the influence of the United States. So the U.S. is trying to grab all these countries and be like, I'm going to be your daddy. I'm the powerful one. I want you to trade with me. I want you to give me your resources. I want to be involved in your government. Like, that's their fucking vibe. The USSR is doing the same shit, but trying to make all these countries be communist countries and be aligned with or a part of the USSR. So that's why I made the title of this, No, My Dick is Bigger. Because, like, that's all they're doing is just trying to gain more power over the other ones. So you can see, like, this represents the USSR. They think they're so powerful, and then like Uncle Sam is just a little man. They're trying to spread their influence, and this is from the perspective of an American, because it looks like Uncle Sam is saving these countries, but like I think we're all on the same page there. You got to cover the banana wars. Ooh, let me add that to my list. Grazie. Stream ideas. I'm so excited for my chilies later. Stream ideas, banana wars. Maybe we'll do that next week. Banana wars. Okay. Weed Queen 21 subscribed with Prime. Also, if you have Prime, you can subscribe for free. Just gonna plug that. Cold War, I hardly know her. I love political cartoons. So nice not to read. I know. I fucking hate reading. For a while, I tried to be like, no, I like reading. I just don't have time for it. No, I don't like it. It's boring and it takes too long. I just logged on. Did I miss a lot? No. Thankful for you. I've been literally just being ADHD for 20 full minutes. 22, actually. But anyway, reading is hard. It takes a long time. And I can get information faster in other ways. Some things you have to get by reading. And reading is important and you need to know how to do it. But it's not my preferred method of receiving information. And I think that that's fine. You can be a smart person and be like, I like receiving information in a different format. I think that's fine. My brother gave our family Prime to Hassan Abi. We'll convene with the council at Christmas dinner. Yes, bring it up at Christmas dinner. Play both one of my streams and one of his streams simultaneously, and then let your family vote on it. Not the big ego having repercussions on our lives to this day. I know. Literally, all of human history is just like some dude's ego impacting the working class. And we just keep doing that. It's like some dude's ego, the working class. Some dude's ego, the working class. Some dude's ego, the working class. Like, that's just what it is. Forever. I think I've Pavloved myself to your voice because I've listened to you a while. I'm chill. I'm here for it, honestly. I love that. I think more people should Pavlov to my voice. That is step one for me taking over the world. Also, one day I'd love to run for Congress, and all I think about is every Republican ad that will just take things I've said on stream out of context. And they're going to be hilarious. All of them. That's literally just the preferred ways to learn. You're so Gucci. Exactly. Okay, so the Cold War was an ongoing political rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies. This developed right after World War II, and the hostility was first given its name by George Orwell, who published an article in 1945 that basically was like, it's the Cold War. It's really awkward. And again, the USSR, super closed off, difficult to get information in and out. They're super closed off to trading with communist countries. And then the US, very capitalistic, very like power hungry and resource hungry, trying to like show itself as the dominant world power following World War II. Both of these countries just wanted to become the dominant power following World War II. And a lot of it goes back to like rivalry over who won the war, like who won World War II. Because Russia and the United States were on the same side. They were allies, but America was like, we did all the fighting. And Russia was like, no, we did all the fighting. So it literally just goes back to ego, a lot of it. Meme of the night for sure. I didn't make this. I found it online, and I don't know who this person is, but I found this meme online. BFFR, but pronounced like USSR. Oh my God. Also, a lot of times, like, leftist people on Twitter and TikTok and stuff try and really, like, glamorize countries in human history that have been communist, but, like, every example of communism we have from human history involves outside influence and a lot of corruption, so I think it's really important to not like glamorize something that you're not educated on and have never lived under, like, and be like, they had it right, because like, you don't have to say that. Like, you can like communism and not glamorize situations that hurt a lot of people. Like, a lot of people got hurt. You can have the feelings that you have on whose fault it is and why they got hurt. Like, but don't say it was perfect. Like, that. Let's be fucking for real. That's my stance on, like, leftists, is people like, oh, so then you think what this country is doing is good? And, like, no. But it's from the outside of influence of a lot of other countries. Like, it's not existing in, like, a vessel. Like, it's not existing in a vacuum, I mean. Like, it's not, like, gonna be perfect, because it's, like, all these things are intruding on it and being involved. When your revolution mindset doesn't come from love, it shows and isn't a flex. Yeah, exactly. So when people are like, it's actually great there, you've had propaganda, and that's why you don't believe it's great there. Like, do you know someone that lives there? Like, do you know people that are from there? Have you talked to them about it? No, you just read things on Twitter and saw, like, random pieces of information out of context. Like, that's all that you did. I'd assume someone could find a way to do communism without what happened during this time. Yes, thank you. I say this and people look at me like I'm growing a whole other head. Leah, motherfucker, thanks for the subscription. I'm glad that y'all agree with me, because I have not really talked to anyone about this, because I feel like most people, like most of my friends and stuff, they're either like not super leftist and are like kind of not really into the whole thing, or they're like that. And I'm like, I can't talk politics with you if you're like that. We can't talk about it. Will you ever cover the Balkan Wars from 2001 that my grandmother fought in? Ooh, maybe. Usually my vibe is more like internal U.S. stuff, but I'll add it to my list and see. This stream is so validating, LOL. I'm glad it's validating. I'm watching Secession right now. I can't say that word. Secession. I don't know how to say that. I'm only on season, like, 2, so don't spoil it. Don't say anything. I'll block you. Don't say anything. Even if you don't, it's interesting to read about. Yeah, a lot of you guys suggest things for stream, and I look into them, and then I decide, like, I'm not the one to explain this. It's something either, like, I'm not educated enough on, is not, like, lighting me up in the way that I want to teach other people about it. But I have learned a lot from you guys' suggestions, even if it doesn't make it on here. Because I only teach about something if I feel like my perspective is going to be valuable. And on some things, it's literally just not. Have you already taught a lesson on the Black Panther Party? Yes, I have. It's on YouTube. Okay, so let's get into the actual Cuban Missile Crisis. So, context, the Cold War lasted from March 12th, 1947, and it technically never really ended, on December 26th, 1991. And literally everyone was just, like, not cool with this. Like, pretty much every country on Earth was like, we just got through World War II. Count them, 1, 2. A lot of people fought in both of them. Not a lot of people, but some people fought in both of them. Most people remembered both of them, at least, like, lived through them, because they weren't that far apart. So people, like, then when they had the Cold War, people are like, literally, fuck this. Like, fuck it. Fuck it all. It's lame. I'm not into it. Stop fighting. We want to rebuild. We ain't trying to deal with this fucking shit. This is my favorite meme that I've literally ever made, I think. I think it's my favorite. Nothing will top this. And the Black Panther Party stream was one of my favorite ones. I love that topic. That's like my favorite historical topic is probably the Black Panther Party. Have you ever done a stream about the Alamo? No, and I want to learn more about the Alamo, because everyone always says, remember the Alamo, and I don't. Personally, the IG preview of this meme made me cackle because it's perfect, and I think Kim and Nene are the perfect, like, symbolic, like, reality TV version of the Cold War. Like, when they're good together, they're great together, but they're both, like, popping off and crazy and kind of shady, and they're the only one that's powerful enough to check the other one and be crazy to each other, because, like, everyone else is like, I'm not fucking with that. But they, like, will fuck with each other. And everyone else is just like, let's stay calm. Have you talked about Operation Condor? No, I have not. The only exposure I have to the Alamo is the King of the Hill episode. Okay, so moving on. The U.S. basically during this time involved themselves into literally everyone and their mother's business. So because we wanted to spread capitalism and because we wanted to have more more countries to trade with, more countries to exploit resources from, all of that. Anytime there was conflict in a country or any question of their government, or even times when there wasn't conflict and wasn't a question of government, but the country was vulnerable, the U.S. would interject and be like, you wanted to be like a part of our vibe and be capitalist? Great. We're going to like look at your government, trade with you, take your shit. Like, it's going to be great. We're besties now. They really just like, yeah, perfect way to phrase it. Monopolizing the world is kind of our vibe during this time period. So what were the vibes in Cuba during this time period? I am not an expert in Cuban history. This is from history.com, and it's just like a basic overview. There's a lot more nuance and it's a lot more complicated. Has a much longer history than what we're going to talk about today, but today we're talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis, not the history of the government of Cuba. So there's more to talk about. Just wanted to give that disclaimer. But on January 1st, 1959, a young Cuban nationalist named Fidel Castro drove his guerrilla army into Havana and overthrew Batista, the nation's American-backed president. Many Cubans welcomed Castro's overthrow of dictatorial Batista, yet the new order on the island, just about 90 miles from the United States, made American officials nervous because Batista had been corrupt and a repressive dictator, but he was considered to be pro-American and was an ally to U.S. corporations. So basically there was like this dictator that the people didn't like, and he was very, very corrupt, but the U.S. government like helped him and backed him, and this guy was like allowing the U.S. to trade and take resources and stuff like that. So the U.S. government, when this guy got overthrown by a nationalist, they were like, oh, fuck, like that was our friend and he just got overthrown by these people and we have economic interest here. Yes, this is essentially the U.S. at every moment in time. The U.S. will always care about money. If they just maybe are going to lose money, if it's even a thought, people will die. Like, if there's a hint of a thought that the United States might lose some money, war. So America is in other countries' bags per usual, because at that time, American business and wealthy individuals owned almost half of Cuba's sugar plantations and the majority of its cattle ranches, mines, and utilities. And Batista did not restrict their operations, and he was reliably anti-communist. So you can see the U.S. like really fucks with Batista because he's allowing the U.S. to own a lot of the resources of the island and be like taking most of the money out of the island's economy. Because we're like, oh, why is it bad for the U.S. to own a business there? People work at that business. That means all the profit from their most profitable, biggest industries is coming off of the island and going to another country. So inherently, that's like exploitation of it because that money is not being churned. The profit is not being turned back into the Cuban economy. It'd be one thing if they like did profit sharing with all their employees. Those people made lots of money. Like, that'd be one thing. But what the fuck? That's what we complain about China and our farmland today. Yeah, it'd be one thing like if it's like, oh, profit sharing and it's facilitated by an American, whatever. But like ultimately, if the person making the profits is taking the profits out of the country, then that resource of that country is not going to benefit the people of that country, even if it is giving them a job day to day. That makes sense to you. Castro, by contrast, was communist who disapproved of the approach Americans took to their business and interest in Cuba. At the time, he believed for Cubans to assume more control of their nations. Cuba sí, Yankees no, which is Cuba yes, Yankees no, became one of the most popular slogans. Almost as soon as he came to power, he took steps to reduce American influence on the island, and he nationalized American-dominated industries such as sugar and mining. So nationalize means to take something and make it be a part of the government. Like the government does that now. Like the government owns it. So like in some places where the government owns like the utilities, like that's nationalized. It's through the government, not a private entity. So he nationalized these very profitable businesses that Americans were profiting off of. And he introduced land reform schemes and called upon other Latin governments to act with more autonomy. So he was basically like, fuck this shit, fuck these Americans, fuck these farms, we should have our land, we should have our resources, and y'all should do the same shit. Like, all these other countries should stop, like, peddling to more powerful countries and take control of your shit and take control of your land and, like, fuck these outsiders. So naturally, if that is his vibe, the U.S. government is like, no, don't do that. Do not do that. We don't like that. Shut up. Shut up. What do we have that's nationalized? The mail? Yeah, pretty much. There's not that much that's nationalized. England makes fun of us, but they have nationalized TV. Yes, they do. Okay. The U.S. when Castro nationalized sugar and mining, like, the U.S. was not fucking happy about this shit. Because, one, it was an example to other countries that, like, you can nationalize your most powerful resource and trade with other countries and then use that money to make your country a better place. And the U.S. is making its money off exploiting other countries. So that is a scary fucking thought to them, because they do not want people, someone's like advertising to me in the chat. They do not want people realizing that. They don't want people thinking those thoughts, because once people start thinking those thoughts, it spreads to other things as well. So yeah. So the other important piece of context before the Cuban Missile Crisis is the Bay of Pigs. The Bay of Pigs invasion was in 1961, and it was a failed attack launched by the CIA during the Kennedy administration to try and push Fidel Castro from power, because the U.S. State Department and the CIA have been attempting to remove him since 1959. And then on April 17th, 1961, the CIA launched what its leaders would believe to be a definitive strike. They had trained 1,400 Cubans, so like Cubans that had fled their homes when Castro took over and came to the U.S. They literally were like, you're going to boot camp and we're teaching you how to do war. The bots have been rampant lately. New house, LOL, first time chat, welcome. Anyway, they basically took these Cubans that had come to the U.S. and they're like, here's a gun, we'll drop you off and then you can overthrow the government and we'll give you a manual and we'll help you, is kind of the U.S. government's plan here. Kennedy high out of his mind on 20 different meds. Fighting for his life against chronic illness, the CIA start a war. Kennedy and his commanders forgot to account for the time change of the Air Force meeting, and they showed up late. Oh my god. The U.S. is so embarrassing. It was a base in Mexico or something. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing a Bay of Pigs invasion stream. Probably should have done it before this one, but whatever. So, this makes so much sense. Like, I did not learn any of this. And then when I learned it as an adult, I was like, it makes sense why we have such a weird vibe with Cuba. I never understood it. I never understood where that came from. Because it's such a small country. Why do we have so much beef with this tiny country? And now it makes so much more sense. Now that you know about the Cold War, it all makes sense. It's all coming together now. Should I do a separate Bay of Pigs stream? Also, I wanted to use this time to try out the poll feature on Twitch, but now I'm realizing I don't know how to do that and did not look into it at all. Add a layer. No, that's not how you do it. Save. How do you do a poll on here? Type dash poll. Oh, maybe. Oh, my god. You were right. Wait, why didn't it work? It's not working. It says start a setup menu and then it just doesn't work. I'll go with yes. IT pulling through. I love IT. Let me just try and send it and see what happens. Oh, I have to hit enter. Okay. I figured it out. I was clicking it and you have to hit enter. It's bad UX design. Okay. I started the poll. I don't know what it looks like for you. Oh, this is fun. I love this. I love my IT department. Shout out to IT support. We love y'all. I would never say that at work. I love 2 people in IT support. And if you're watching this and you're wondering who I love, we got tacos together recently. One of you wasn't there, but you will know each other. You'll figure it out. What's that noise? Okay. 100% yes. No one said no. I'll do a Bay of Pigs stream next. I should have done it first, but I was already halfway through. So yeah. On mobile, the poll is a cute little drop down, unlocking the Reagan emote in preparation for when he comes up. Oh my god. Wait, I lost something. I tried to teach the Bay of Pigs to a first grader once, and I still have no idea what it is. Oh my god, don't try and teach that to a first grader. They literally can't handle that. There's like a noise happening, and I don't know what it is. Oh, I bet it's the cats. Yes, one. Now I know how to do a poll, so that's great. That's awesome that I know how to do a poll. Perfect. All right, so Cuba calling the USSR for help after they have pigs. Basically, when this happened, the Bay of Pigs was a massive failure. They did not overthrow the government. It's considered like one of the biggest embarrassments for the CIA. We'll learn about it in the Bay of Pigs stream. But yeah, it did not fucking work at all. But the Cubans found out about it because they just like stopped it. And so then Fidel Castro called the USSR and they were like, hey, I was trying to be on like my own shit and not get involved with this because both of y'all are fucking crazy, but the crazy person next door to me is like literally trying to kill me. Fidel Castro survived so many fucking assassination attempts. But anyway, he was like basically called the USSR because he was like, my crazy fucking neighbors are trying to kill me, so can you help me out because you have lots of power and lots of money, and that would just be really helpful. Common CIAL losing a battle against a poor communist state, botching the anthrax mail investigation. The list goes on. So this is the leader of the USSR, Khrushchev. He came to power in 1947. Long story there. Don't know it. We're not here to talk about that. This is just like the first thing of him on Wikipedia. During his rule, he stunned the communist world with his denunciation of Stalin's crimes, embarked on a policy of de-Stalinization with his key ally Anastasius Mikoyan, and he sponsored the early Soviet space program and enactment of moderate reforms in domestic policy. I don't know much about him other than that he was the leader of the Soviet Union for a pretty significant amount of time, and part of like this happened during that time. Was Castro actually a bad guy, or is that just Americanized history in my mind? I think it's impossible to sort political figures into good and bad, and I do not know enough about him to make a definitive statement on that. I have heard things about him that I really liked, and I have heard things about him that I have really not liked, but I don't know enough about him to be like, that's someone I like, you know? So that's my final answer there, I guess. Maybe I'll do more research and do a stream about him. Who knows? My A-push teacher went to Cuba when it was illegal. Slay on her part. And she saw the museum Castro made of all the failed assassination attempts. I do know living in Cuba is very difficult. It's a very difficult place to live. Power issues, things are very difficult to get your hands on there. Yeah, it's the CIA propaganda at work. Yeah, CIA propaganda will get you. Okay. Well, obviously the USSR was like, you want help defending from who? From who? We'd love to help you. We'd love to help you. Result of U.S. embargo, no. Yeah, Cuba's had a lot of economic issues. That's what I mean when I was saying, communism has always had outside influence, stuff like that, embargoes. I think we tried to kill him 600 times, flop. Yeah, I don't know why it took us 600 times to give up. But yeah, Khrushchev was happy because he did not like the United States at all. And it's the Cold War. So obviously when your number one hater's neighbor calls you and is like, hey, help me, you're going to be like, I'm so thrilled to step in. I am so thrilled to step in. And I just wanted to show you how close Cuba is to the United States. Very, very, very nearby. Very close. So that's why there being missiles here really fucked with people and really scared them, because obviously it's very, very close to us. So what the USSR did was it placed missiles in Cuba to protect the Cubans. So basically they were like, because they keep fucking with you, we will put missiles in Cuba, USSR nuclear missiles, so that if they're fucking with you, we can launch missiles on them. So now, if I was Cuba right now, I'd be like, thank you. That's very helpful. Remember when Obama went to a Cuban baseball game with Castro's son? Interesting. Very interesting. So that is why the USSR put missiles in Cuba, was to protect the Cubans. But another aspect of the story is that the United States already, before this, starting in 1958, years prior, the U.S. had missiles in these spots for years. Here's let me get this back. Here's the USSR over here. We have a missile in Turkey, Italy, and the UK. Of course, we got there first. The U.S. removed their missiles from Turkey. We're getting there, Waggy. We're not there yet. You can't get ahead of me. I'm the teacher. But anyway, we already have missiles there. I'm sorry. That's what the class is about. No, it's okay. I forgive you. But anyway, so we already had missiles there. We had them there for years. And they were within, like, range of the USSR. Like, absolutely could have hit the USSR. So, I don't think it's crazy that the USSR put missiles in Cuba. Especially the fact... Can we talk about the Trudeau-Castro conspiracy? I cannot talk about that. I can't talk about that because I'm in too deep. I can't talk about that. I cannot talk about that. I physically cannot describe how much I can't talk about that. Like... I'm in very, very deep on that. So, I don't think it's surprising that the USSR was like, yeah, I'm not fucking into that. Like, I literally know I'm going to put missiles near you. Especially because you're fucking with your neighbor. Your little neighbor that's not very big and does not have a big military. Stop fucking with them. They didn't do anything to you. Well, they kind of did. But you get what I'm saying. The fact that we have military bases in other countries is whack. Like, guys, that is your land. Don't let us use that shit. That is crazy to me. I cannot think about how angry it makes me that we spend so much of our tax dollars on military bases in other countries that are accomplishing absolutely fucking nothing. That how much money goes in for people to literally just sit there and get paid to run a military base. They literally are just getting paid to have regular person-ass desk jobs on a military base in another country. It's not the fault of those people. They can have that job. That's fine. No shade to them. But the fact that's our priorities is to just have, like, this institution running in another country for no reason. And, like, most of the jobs are just internal jobs. Like, they do accounting for that military base. Why does it exist? Why does it exist? The USSR. America, leave your little sister alone. They are so swagged out, and for what? You know what they say? You gotta spend money to lose money. Oh my god. Dude, and the bases take so much money because they're huge, and the equipment's expensive, the security's expensive, the staffing's expensive, the housing for the staff is expensive. Like, it's just a very expensive thing to do to make an institution in another country. That's just fucking expensive. It's just expensive to do that. So I personally think we should avoid it at all. Like, take measures to avoid that. Like, that shouldn't be our default option. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, anyway, the USSR didn't like that we had missiles there. This is another really good political cartoon, and I kind of like it because there's a little sexual tension. You know what I mean? That's how Osama bin Laden got rich. I don't really know that much about the Middle East. But I can't get student loan forgiveness, LMAO. Oh my god. The USS government employed his father. Oh, I did know that. JFK is a bottom for Khrushchev. Oh my god, I cannot believe you just made me read that out loud. Army bases in Europe are also known amongst the youth for having American restaurant and snacks, which brings in lots of money, I'm sure. Like, if you're going to be there, you should have to do scientific research or some helpful shit. That's what I mean. Like, we have them there, but what are they accomplishing? Like, if they were doing, like, collaborative research with another country, or, like, I really can't think of any other use other than, like, scientific research. Art. I think it's fine for us to pay to do art with other countries. You know what? When I run for president, this is going to be my foreign policy plan, is that instead, like, if we're beefing with another country and we have tension with them, as a way to, like, kind of ease the tension, is the government will hire artists. Both governments. I'll pay for yours. It's fine, because I want to ease the tension. And we pay for other shit for other countries all the time, so that shouldn't be groundbreaking. We hire some artists, maybe, like, between 50 and 75. And then they have a little art convention where they show each other art from their country and, like, their culture's art, and they can, like, educate each other. We'll have translators there, of course. And then they make art together where they, like, blend the styles, and it's like an art workshop conference for, like, a couple weeks where they're just having, like, connection and art and all of those things. Yeah, exactly like the WPA. Exactly. That's where the idea came from. We've hired artists before. We can do this. And then the art can be used as like government propaganda, because propaganda is going to always exist. So we should just try and make it good and ethical. You know what I mean? So the governments can like pay for the art to be displayed and have like free art exhibits that show the art and do tours like around both countries where people can be like, okay, like they can like, I think that's an easy starting point. I love that. I love that. Okay, moving on. So, so like I said, the Cold War was so bad because the US and the USSR are the only two nations that fully match each other's energy. Other countries are like, oh, that bitch is fucking crazy. So I'm not going to start a fight with the US because that bitch has so many weapons and so many bombs and she is crazy. She is literally fucking crazy. And then people felt the same way about the USSR. They're like, that bitch is crazy. She has so many weapons. I'm not starting a fight with her. But because the US and the USSR were in an arms race, they both had a shit ton of weapons. During this time, the US and the USSR were spending so much time, money, and energy on just stockpiling weapons. Nuclear bombs, planes, tanks, everything. They were just stockpiling weapons. So that's why they're like foaming at the mouth to fight with each other. Like they're feral over how badly they want to fight with each other. I forgot the hat. I cannot believe y'all let me do that. They're literally feral over how much they want to fight. So do you get the vibes of that? Like they don't want to fight, but they really do. They do. Someone told me to hydrate. Ella Mathis. Thanks. Okay. Any hoops. I got a hair in my mouth. Disgusting. Yikes, I've read that. They threatened to oh my god, that's terrible. People are talking about violence in regards to World Cup. Okay, so President Kennedy got briefed about the situation on October 16th, 1962, and he immediately called together a group of advisors that were known as the Executive Committee, or the ExComm. So President Kennedy got briefed, basically just meaning like it was caught by like a surveillance plane, like a plane saw the missiles, and so they were like, Kennedy, there's USSR missiles in Cuba, just so you know. That would be jarring. That would be a jarring message to receive at work. Being a president seems really, really stressful. So during that same meeting, military advisors urged Kennedy to do an airstrike on the missile sites and invade Cuba. That was their step one. They were like, all right, here is what I think we should do immediately. Immediately, this is what I think we should do. Imagine a invasion of the other world power's ally as being your first choice. Like, what? That was, you didn't think, let's call him and ask. Like, that was nowhere. Your first thought, full invasion. I just got here, but did you talk about the CIA's plan to make Castro's beard fall out? No, but I'm glad you brought it up. This is another good thing. Maybe I'll include this in the Bay of Pigs stream. But anyway, the U.S. government had so many plans of, like, ways to fuck with Fidel Castro, and they were like gonna try and make him like fat. They wanted to kill him. They wanted to make his beard fall out. Like they just wanted to like dehumanize him as much as humanly possible. They literally were obsessed. Like they were foaming at the mouth, feral, obsessed. I'm curious what option 2 was. Exactly. There's no de-escalation, just war. Absolutely zero de-escalation over here. Zero de-escalation to be found. So Kennedy was like, I think that maybe we shouldn't do that. Kennedy was like, that might not be the best idea for step 1. I so appreciate your input, so appreciate your advice. That being said, am not going to take it. Kennedy basically just thought like that was a little too intense and that they should try and de-escalate the situation and try and talk about it with like through negotiation, because like no shots had been fired, no one had gotten hurt, and I don't think Kennedy wanted to be the first one to take that shot. So Kennedy was like, we're going to calm down a bit, and that's not what we're going to do. Love the enthusiasm, but be for real. It's like, I love that you're feeling so passionate about your job, you know? Like, I love that I have created such a safe and open work environment that you felt empowered to tell me that that's what you're thinking. I'm so glad that you felt confident enough to tell me that you were so, like, you felt like I'm so open to you that I would be willing to hear that idea. I'm really glad that you feel that way about me. The CIA really needed some SEL. My God. Kennedy was giving Rhaenyra at the end of House of Dragons. Kennedy planned to pull the peacekeepers out of Vietnam like a few months after he died, but Johnson didn't know that. Makes you think about the CIA. I have a lot of thoughts about the CIA. I'm sure Kennedy does as well. Would love to talk to him about it. It's a shame. So Kennedy's slightly more chill plan is that he was going to get the U.S. Navy to establish a blockade around the island to prevent the Soviets from delivering any other military equipment. I think this is like a little intense, but no one's getting hurt. And they also let through like food and medical supplies and things like that. Like they were blocking military stuff and then stuff where they didn't know what it was. They were allowing food and medical supplies. So it's kind of like definitely trying to show like our dick is big. Look how big our Navy is. We can surround your whole fucking island and cut you off. Like they were trying to say we can cut you off if we want to. We're not, but we could. Is basically the energy that he's moving with here. I need to know how many people agreed that this was the best course of action. This is a safe space, but shut the fuck up. The U.S. is Cassie, and Cuba is Nate from Euphoria. My God. I feel the U.S. never learned the golden rule of treat others the way you want to be treated. Yeah, we're not great with that. And the second thing is he would deliver an ultimatum that the existing missiles be removed. Not really sure what you can say other than please. But I think the blockade is the most interesting part. But he basically said, like, you have to remove the missiles. Which, like, okay, let's fucking be for real. Sit down and talk about what we're going to do here. Poll. Okay, but anyway, the U.S. was blocking Cuba from getting all of their shipments and their supplies, again, except for food and things like that. So how did the American public react to this entire situation? On television and on October 22nd, 1962, so this is 6 days after they were discovered, the president notified Americans about the presence of missiles and explained his decision to enact a blockade and made it clear that the U.S. was prepared to use military force if necessary to neutralize the perceived threat to national security. Again, we had missiles in Europe. We had missiles in Europe. We have had missiles in Europe for 4 years at this point. Never did the USSR react like that. And you know, where was I? Actually, never did they do. I never say never, you know. I had to reenact this in A-Push as if we were Kennedy's cabinet and I had to be the Secretary of State. I've never felt more stress in the course of 45 minutes. I know the public was foaming at the mouth. Yes, so following the public declaration, people around the globe nervously waited for the Soviet response, and some Americans started hoarding food and gas in their little bomb shelters. So it was a very, very tense time. So that's what I mean, that I kind of feel empathy for boomers, because like that would be really traumatizing. Why didn't JFK do an Insta poll for his response? That's how we're going to have the elections in 20 years. Mark my fucking words. I'm going to be on some weird app in 20 years and be like, I voted on my eyeball iPad. Why make everyone panic like that? He felt like he had to tell the people, I guess. I don't fucking know. I think it's kind of crazy he didn't tell them for 4 days, though. Also, if this happened today, it would be on Twitter immediately. It would be on Twitter so fast. Like, right away, it would be on Twitter. Like, when the missiles were getting delivered to Cuba, someone from Cuba would be like, hey, missiles just got here. And it would, like, then end up on Twitter somehow. That's what would happen. You can't tell me I'm wrong, because I'm right. And again, when people are like, oh, why did everyone panic? People were already building shit like this. So this was, like, already the headspace we were in. I think Elon would break the news. Oh, my God, don't even say that. I live in D.C. and I work blocks from the White House. Like, I'm gone if a missile is launched, so vibes. Live stream missiles traveling. But people were already in this headspace where they were building bomb shelters underneath their house. So it's not surprising that they felt the need to hoard food and gas. Here, I think this is an ad for a bomb shelter, and honestly, pretty cozy. I have slept in worse places, absolutely. In the drive-thru, getting bean and cheese tacos. Ooh, that sounds good. I appreciate the dedication to survival. That's what gets me is like, okay, then you come out of the shelter and do what? Like, I see how this is a realistic plan for about a week. What happens after that? What's the plan here? It's really crazy to me that Reagan was ever allowed to handle this situation. Why did I think bomb shelters look so cozy? Like, I'm down for a nap. Oh, I know that naps go really hard in here. No natural light. Incredible. People haven't changed. LOL. Still hoarding and building bomb shelters. Imagine the Twitter blue fiasco at the same times. Bitches being bomb shelters for eons. Just so shows how much more money people had then. No, nowadays, nobody would have the money to build a bomb shelter. A bomb shelter is a sign of a thriving middle class, if you ask me. I also think, like, the threat of nuclear war was a really new idea at the time. So people didn't realize that, like, no one, like, I don't know how to explain this and not jinx us. But, like, nuclear bombs were a relatively new idea. So people had not gotten desensitized to them. People were very like, that's going to kill everyone and it's going to happen in 2 weeks. I feel like now, because we have been on the brink of nuclear warfare for so long, and there's been so many times that it's going to be World War III, it's going to happen, and then we see that the leaders work it out and there ends up not being a bomb. Like, that has happened so many times that I think we're just so desensitized to it that now when it happens, we're like, okay, sounds good, I guess. Which I just find very depressing, but also in a way comforting. But in another way, we should never get comfortable because it'll happen when we're too comfortable, you know? We have so many more times nuclear bombs right now than we did back then, and we're the only country who has used them. Embarrassing. No, literally, it is embarrassing. It's very embarrassing for us. So, back to the blockade. The U.S., me staring at the inbound nuclear missile. I set an alarm to join the stream, and I just realized I'm in a different time zone. That'll get you. That will get you. But we're just getting to the interesting part if it makes you feel better. Wasn't there a lot of misinformation saying we could survive if we just invested into bunkers and strong desk and shit? Capitalism will always prey on your fears, so I'm going to assume they are correct. But anyway, a crucial moment of the crisis was on October 24th. So again, announced on the news on October 22nd. Everyone's freaking out. Now it's October 24th. Soviet ships bound for Cuba neared the line of U.S. vessels. So the Soviets pulled up. They were like, we heard you had a blockade. We just wanted to see it. I just wanted to see it. I'm just looking at it. An attempt by the Soviets to breach the blockade would have likely sparked a military confrontation between our two navies that could have easily escalated into a nuclear exchange. So basically, everyone was shitting their pants on October 24th. On both sides. The Soviets were shitting their pants. The Americans were shitting their pants. Actually, I don't know how fast news spread to them. I don't know much about Soviet Union news. But anyway, people were shitting their pants all over the world. Because even people that are not in Cuba, the U.S., or the Soviet Union, if there are nuclear bombs going off all over the world, that will affect you. That will affect neighboring countries. We're just looking and keeping our hands in our pockets like good little boys. They were just sitting at their desk. They literally didn't do anything. I'm just kidding. The Soviets to the blockade. I think it's kind of comical how they pulled up and were like, y'all are not going to hit me. I know you're not going to. And then they left. And neither of us hit each other. It's literally just ego and a dick showing contest. Neither of them, they are both foaming out the mouth and rabid to fight, but neither of them are actually going to fight because neither of them wants to be the first one. They want the first one to be the other party so bad. They're just waiting for them to do it. Like, they're like, I want to kill you so fucking bad, but I can't do it because then the end of the world will be my fault for going first. And I can't handle that for my reputation. That's why neither of them did it. Because they can't handle it. It's like, you swing first. No, you swing first. Exactly. My nose is stuffy. And then Khrushchev basically wrote Kennedy saying, not fucking cool, this is international waters. And he literally, I don't remember the exact wording, but he basically said, this is the type of thing that could push a country to nuclear war. He basically said, like, without saying it, I'm gonna fucking nuke you if you don't chill the fuck out. Because he said, this is the type of thing that could get someone to do that. Which is like, it's so high school. It's very high school. Me learning any history about the U.S. Hit me first, bro. All the fights in high school. Exactly. Because the person that hits first gets in trouble. Because the other person is just self-defense. And then Kennedy responded and was like, actually, it's not an act of aggression because we're still allowing food and medical supplies through. So it's not considered an act of aggression by the rules of war. Which, this is funny to me. That's petty. I love petty. I'll get behind petty any day of the week. I can always do petty. Petty is a flavor I am always offering. Okay, where was I? So, the crazy part to me is how much this affected normal, working, everyday Cubans, Americans, oh, I forgot to capitalize Soviets, sorry, and Soviets that are all living under the threat of nuclear warfare. They're just trying to take care of their families, do what they need to do, have enough food to eat, and they have to deal with this fucking bullshit. Like, it's too much. It's just too much. Leaders need to relax. He said, I'm not doing anything. Technically, if we're being technical, I'm not doing anything. So, although the events at sea offered a positive sign that war could be averted, they did nothing to address the problem of missiles already being in Cuba. And the tense standoff continued through the week. And on October 27th, an American reconnaissance plane, reconnaissance is like research, so they were just like flying looking at shit. Like, they're not landing or talking to anybody, and they don't have like weapons, they're just looking. Where was I? The reconnaissance plane was shut down, and a U.S. invasion force was readied in Florida. The person that died on the plane was a 35-year-old pilot. His name was Major Rudolph Anderson, and he is considered the sole casualty of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And then this is from the Secretary of Defense, said, it was the last Saturday I would ever see. So very much a sense of doom. A similar sense of doom was felt by key players on both sides. Because when this plane got shot down, they were like, okay, they shot first. It's happening, you guys. It's literally always Florida. Cuba can have Florida. Their urbanism is trash. I don't think I know what that means, but I probably agree with you. So, first of all, rest in peace, Major Rudolph Anderson. I know nothing about you. You could have been a bad person. I don't know, but sucks that you died in this situation. This is the plane. Very unfortunate. Rest in peace to this man. Probably did not think he was going to die this day, but... Also, the same day that the plane got shut down, as if the plane was not enough to fill us all with anxiety, as if we didn't have enough with the plane, a nuclear-armed Soviet submarine was hit by a depth charge from a U.S. Navy vessel that was trying to signal the submarine to come up. So there was a Soviet submarine. A submarine is a boat that goes all the way under the water. So instead of, I don't know, us sending a submarine, maybe writing a note on a rock, dropping it down, there's literally unlimited options. We decided to send down a depth charge. A depth charge, you might be wondering what that is. It is an anti-submarine warfare weapon, and it is intended to destroy a submarine by being dropped into the water nearby and detonating. So I don't really see how us dropping that there is a clear signal to come up. To me, that feels like more of a very direct act of aggression. The commanders of the submarine were too deep underwater to communicate with the surface, like they couldn't radio, so they thought the war had started and started to prepare to launch a nuclear torpedo. Because if another country is trying to destroy your vessel when you are on the brink of war, you're probably going to believe the war has started. That's probably the take that you have. How quickly were American people finding out about this stuff? I'm still thinking about it as if it would happen today, and imagining the TikToks we would immediately see. They'd be like, hey, you guys, like that's what would be happening. This happened decades ago, and this slide is making me itch. I feel itchy. It's an itchy thing to think about. Where was I? The commanders were too deep to communicate, so they started preparing the nuclear torpedo, and there were three people of the crew in charge, and they basically were like, if all three of us don't agree, we're not doing it, was their policy. So the captain and the political officer both authorized the launch. They said the war has started, they threw that shit at us, and we are going to throw that shit back at them. And then the second in command, Vasily Arkhipov, refused. He said, we have not gotten official signal that the war is, I don't know if he said this, but we haven't gotten official signal that the war has started. I don't think this is a good idea because we don't want to start the war if it hasn't started. We could all get in trouble and kill a lot of people. So he said, we're not going to do it unless we get the official word from our people that the war has started. So they didn't launch the nuclear torpedo. Could you fucking imagine if they did? I thank God that the Soviets showed more intellect and strength on this day in this water than the Americans on the other boat did. Because why would you throw the weapon down there to be like, come up? Again, so many other options. Literally so many other options that are not that. If only America could be rational. We don't deserve that, I don't think. So yeah, this guy saved us. So good for him. Everyone on planet Earth while this was going. I cannot imagine living during this time. This is so fucking scary. Just thinking that you're going to get bombed at any time. Because remember that map that we looked at? It literally can reach every part of the United States. I think only Alaska was not technically in the nuke zone of where they could launch it. Like, that's so fucking scary. And even if you're not somewhere where they would hit it, like if you're in like the middle of nowhere in Nebraska, they're probably not going to hit you. But then your government's going to fucking fall. Like, that's so scary. The way this lasted like 2 weeks, did people go to work? I would be packing my shit and leaving, right? It's fucking so scary. Hydrate. Okay, so despite this enormous tension, Soviet and American leaders found a way out of the impasse, because during the crisis, Americans and Soviets had exchanged a couple letters and other communications, and then on October 26th, Khrushchev sent a message to Kennedy in which he offered to remove the Cuban missiles in exchange for a promise by U.S. leaders to not invade Cuba. So that was his trade-off, is he was like, I'll remove the missiles if you like make an official promise that you're not going to invade Cuba. To me, seems more than fair. The following day, the Soviet leaders sent a letter proposing that the USSR would dismantle in Cuba if the US removed their missile installations in Turkey. So that's like the official like proposition that they're like, you get rid of your shit, we'll get rid of our shit. Officially, the Kennedy administration decided to accept the terms of the first message and ignore the letter entirely. So this, where he said, I'll remove the missiles in exchange for the promise, they were like, yeah, we're going to go with that offer and we're going to ignore the letter. We're going to go with, it says got a message to him. I don't know if it was like a fucking telegraph or a phone call. I don't know. But it wasn't a letter. So the first message, they were like, that deal sounds good. We're going to go with that deal. Fuck the whole we take down our missiles thing. We're not really into that part. We liked the first deal better. So the Kennedy administration decided to accept the terms of the first message and ignore the letter. Privately, American officials agreed to withdraw their nation's missiles from Turkey. So basically, they were like side-hoeing the Soviet Union. They were like, hey, baby, I'll do the shit that you want me to do, but it'll make me look really weak. So if we could just kind of keep it on the DL, you can tell your people, because my people don't talk to your people. The internet doesn't exist yet. But we'll do it, but just between you and me, because we don't want our people to know that we did that, because our people like it when we have missiles next to you. So we're just going to let them kind of forget that this happened. And then U.S. Attorney General Robert Kennedy personally delivered the message to the Soviet Union ambassador in Washington on October 28th, and then the crisis drew to a close. So that is, JFK got the hey early text from Standards, the USSR. I also live in Nebraska and can agree. I've never been to Nebraska. The sunsets look pretty. Kennedy and Khrushchev working together to find a solution to a war they both inherited. Ultimately, this makes sense to me because, like, neither one of them started this and neither one of them wanted to finish it, is the vibe that I get from both of them. They're like really stuck between a rock and a hard place because they can't look weak and the people of their nations really don't like each other. But neither of them want to kill each other because they didn't start the war. It's not their war. So they're just like, fuck, this is so awkward. I think a stream about Robert Kennedy's campaign could be interesting. You can have a fun long weekend in Omaha, but that's about it. Valid. RFK is the hotter Kennedy. I'm a little upset that no one's talking about the Shark Tank gifts because I think both of these gifts are literally perfect. Neither one of them makes sense, but I just feel like the energy both of them exude is pretty perfect for this situation. You know, if you guys could acknowledge it, that would be nice. That was very much like the Jeb Bush. Please clap. Please clap. I should have a Jeb Bush emoji for please clap. Or not emoji, emote. The kissing one is hilarious. The vibes are perfect, especially the wine one. Exactly. Like, I saw the wine one, and I was like, this makes no sense, but it's literally perfect. It's literally perfect. I love it. Love the Shark Tank gift. Thank you. I try. That's why I'm here. So, shout out to Kennedy for negotiating this. Pretty cool that we didn't die from nuclear warfare. I love not dying from nuclear warfare. Chatting for my first time. Oh my god, it is your first time chat. Natty Hex, love the Shark Tank gifts. Thank you, appreciate the love. But shout out to Kennedy for negotiating this. That was pretty cool. Nice that people didn't die except for that one pilot. So RIP to him. I already forgot his name, so sorry, sir. Love being alive usually. Sometimes I've been known to enjoy it. I'm a lurker. A Jeb emote would be elite. Please clap. I should do like a face mashup of me and Jeb together. Okay, it is time to frickin' climb, bitches. Let's do the beach one because Cuba's an island. I like that idea. Perfect. So, if you have never been with us before, this is a trivia game. You do not have to play. You can just hang out here and you will still be able to see the questions. You will still be able to talk and hang out and all of that stuff. But if you would like to play, if you're on a computer, I just a link, open it in a new tab so that you don't lose me. Or if you have me like on your TV and you on your phone want to go to join.nearpod.com and then enter the code ZU62G, you can play the game. You don't have to play the game, but if you want the game, you can. I got the app just for this. The app is pretty elite, but you don't have to download the app. They try and make you think that you have to, but you can open it in a browser. But the app is a lot better. Like, it's easier to use than doing it in a browser. Your name will come up on the screen. You get to pick a little character. If you do not want your government name to come up on the screen, don't type it in. And if you already did, I'm sorry, but that kind of feels like your fault. But I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to join and all that stuff. It's 10 questions. They're all multiple choice. They're relatively easy. Oh my God, so many people are telling me to hydrate. Jade, Zaranique, Florentine, Eva, Julie, Baumgart, thank you. Professor Beerhands followed me. What an honor. Loving that for us. Okay. Posture check. My posture is terrible. I'm wearing my Sophie shorts rolled 3 times. Fun fact. What's the link again? Here you go. Had to switch to a laptop. All good. Sent it again. It's also at the top of the screen right here. There we go. You can tell this is a teachware. Do I want to put it on Microsoft Teams? Imagine if I made a Google Classroom for us and gave you guys assignments. I feel like some people would do them. I don't have time for grading those though. Sorry, love you. Do any of you have high school aged kids? I'm making some like stuff for parents on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I want to know if any of you guys are in that demographic. I don't think you will be if you're on Twitch, just statistically, but a lot of parents are cool. So if you're here, let me know. Anyway, I'm going to probably get us started. There's 35 people on the game. If you're trying to join, I love how you said my last name. Was it wrong? Probably. If you're trying to join and you're not in, it'll let you join late. Nah, I have an 8-month-old. It's never too late to start college applications. I have a nephew that's a freshman here with 16-year-old. Oh my God. Love. He lives with me. Nice. Okay. Maybe I'll be into it. This is my plan. I made it's like a weekly check-in where you like sit down and it's like, what are your assignments this week? What to do? Do you need help with anything? Do you have any extracurriculars? Like just a way to show a teenager how to stay organized. Do you offer to help with applications to adults? I'm going to start too soon. Not right now, but soon I'm going to offer one-on-one coaching, either for young adults, like first-gen college student, help you with emails, applications, things like that, or for high school students where their parent can facilitate it. I'm not letting a high schooler pay me, but I'll let a college student pay me. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so I'm making like this little student success guide thing, and I kind of want to give it to some people for free, or I might put it up for sale for $1 to see if people like it, and then like make adjustments. But anyway, I'm going to start the game now. There's 41 people in it. Love that for us. It'll play music. Kind of fun music. Do, do, do. The Cold War was an ongoing political rivalry between the United States and blank. It was the Soviet Union. Why does the music go so hard? Nearpod did what needed to be done. Who was the leader of the USSR at this time? It was Khrushchev. Who was the leader of the U.S. at this time? It was John F. Kennedy. The U.S. tried to plan an invasion of Cuba at what bay? I tried to make the wrong answers funny. Finally made it to live, Alyssa456. Welcome. So glad you're here. We love a first time live and a first time chat. I always wonder how many of you are lurkers. I love a lurker. I'm a lurker for a lot of things, so I really appreciate the lurking. Because sometimes you just can't engage. It's just too tiring, and you just want to be on the receive. You know? Where did the U.S. have missiles stationed? There's multiple right answers here. Can you do a weird CIA experiments attempt across history, like the failed Fidel Castro or Acoustic Kitty? Acoustic Kitty is. But I don't want to do like an everything one because they're all so crazy, but I've done a few. I did like MK Ultra, so I've done a few and I want to do more of them. Lurking from welding school. Welding school seems badass as fuck. Welding school seems like a vibe. Low key, I want to go into the trades because I hate looking at my computer screen all day. Like, I like my coworkers and I don't mind being at the office, but I hate sitting at a desk all day. Like, I want to be on my feet and doing something, but I don't want to go back to food and beverage because then you have to work like weekends and nights, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm like, maybe I should just do something where I can just like be moving and about and I don't have to look at a screen or answer emails. Hi, Fraz! We're on... I forgot to read you the question, sorry. Lurking while trying to learn stats. I failed statistics. Well, the professor felt bad for me and gave me an A, but I failed every test. What was Kennedy's strategy? I'll give you a hint. It's not the most aggressive one on the list. Nice job. It was A. I'm so excited to eat my chilies. Oh, it's when they put a microphone and a transmitter on a live cat in Cuba and then it got hit by a car. Your tax dollars at work, ladies and gentlemen. I got a warehouse job and now I make $100K a year to walk all day and pick orders. Exactly! That's what I'm talking about. I never finished this because I'm always talking. It was a B, one person, not on, in, surgically. God. Alright, number one, JFK, ex-Khrushchev lover. Then we have Tortor, the Dino, Shayla, No Thoughts, Suze, Jim, Trashed Sunsets, and Gas Station Roller, JD's, Samantha, KR, Anna, Mick, and Natty. I'll just scroll through the rest. Oh my god, someone gave out a community sub. Thank you. No Thoughts, Just Vibes got the tier 1 sub. I love when people give out subscriptions because like you literally didn't have to do that, and thank you so much. My history teacher gave all of my class A's on our research paper because his backpack with the papers in it got stolen while he was grading in Starbucks. That's hilarious. First time live and in second place, coming in hot. One time, this really reminds me of one time when I was teaching, like the school I taught at, a lot of the kids were very behind in reading and math and did not have much history background knowledge. So a lot of times I would have to start like very, very, very basic with information. And we got this kid who had come from like this super expensive fancy private school, and he was really passionate about history. So he literally knew more than me on everything. And he came in and we had a test that day. And I was like, hey, you haven't been here, but I want you to take it. And if you don't do well on it, I just won't count it for you. I just kind of want to see how you do on it. So just like try your best. And he got 100 on it. And I was like, okay, I miss that kid. He was such a little genius. And he taught me so much. But anyway, let me scroll through the rest of the people on the game. But I just wanted to tell that story. And that's what you did. First time here. You got second place. We love that. All right. Nice job. We love. Thank you so much for being here. If you have notes, if you have memes, if you have anything, feel free to drop them here. I will hang out for a couple more minutes to see all your lovely notes and memes, but I will be leaving to eat chili shortly. So glad. I miss academic encouragement, except college is insufferable. You can get all the academic encouragement here, baby. Tell your college friends if they're missing it too. Be like, this batshit crazy woman on the internet will give you validation. This was such a good live. It was my first time joining. It didn't even feel like an hour. We've been here for an hour and a half. You had Chili's last night too. It's my Chili's leftovers. I'm not ordering Chili's 2 nights in a row. It's my Chili's leftovers. I don't know what this is. JFK ignoring the second letter and saying to remove the missiles from Turkey. Jimmy Carter and Al Gore 2024. Wait a minute. If we're going to have an almost dead president, it might as well be Jimmy Carter. You know what I'm saying? What is it? I had a triple dipper. So I have some honey chipotle chicken tenders left. What else do I have? Fried pickles and a Southwestern egg roll. People make you memes. This is incredible. I know. The collaborate board is the most important part. Chili's Day Part 2. Honestly, might get Chili's again on Friday. I'm working from home on Friday. Isn't that amazing? I felt bad that yesterday I kind of like threw shade at my company for not letting me work at home. I like on TikTok was like, they took it away. And then today they were like, you can work from home on Friday. And I was like, oh, thank you. Love the Southwestern egg roll. Is there more? Oh, here they are. Me when I fucking love the triple dipper. The USSR and the US after almost destroying the war. We have to laugh. Also, Fraz, I want you to know I loved the 2 most recent podcast episode. Fraz is the podcast queen. Fraz does everything. All I do is show up and talk shit. That's it. That's all I do. She does all the work. And she's crushing it, truly. We love this. Oh, wait, more memes. Oh. Richest couple alive. I don't know if that's true news, but good for them. I love rich lesbians. Wait, this is so fun. I might have to come back next week. You should come back next week. This is like if history class at school was fun and truthful. Showing up just to talk shit is my dream job, actually. It's incredible. I leave work, and then I get on with her, and she's like, how was work? And I'm like, work was terrible. And then we talk about teaching, and we always have fun guests, and it's great. I just got off an hour-long meeting with them that I had forgotten about until he emailed me, is everything okay? Sometimes life will come at you fast. Can't wait to go have cake with her. Okay. So, this was phenomenal. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to go have Chili's part 2, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back next week. I will not be taking a break for the holidays. There are going to be no missed streams. Unless something happens and there's an emergency, then obviously, it's like, you never know what's going to happen. But Wednesday is never on a holiday, so we're good. We'll be here. For most of December, I will be streaming from alternate locations, but it'll be fine. Stan Luna if you slay. But so excited for our December together. Thank you for being here. I hope you live, laugh, and love, and have a great rest of your night.